Lyle, Sunday will kickstart things for you with a ride on the very consistent CHEVAL Valiant. You've finished fourth, third, and second, and well, surely it's time for that win, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that he's found a field where he certainly can get the victory this time round. There's one or two horses, of course, that we'll certainly respect, but he has been awfully consistent, and he deserves to get the victory under his belt after all those good runs. So hopefully things go smoothly, but certainly capable.
And I mean, last time out, Lyle, just obviously reflecting on that race, you had plenty of them off the bit at the 300 and the 250. I mean, the horse that eventually won the race, he's gone on to win again. So, I mean, it was a very good run from your horse, as always.
Yeah, the winner seems a smart sort. So we obviously bumped into a good one, but it's just been unfortunate because it seems like every time he's run, he's bumped into one that's just a little bit better. But yeah, like I said, it looks like a race that he could get it right, and nonetheless, he will be competitive, and he'll give you a good sight until about the 950, and then we just hope that we've got enough left in the tank to pull it off.
I mean, he was 3 lengths clear of the fourth, who turned out to be Multimore, and obviously Wednesday night he went and won. So it just goes to enhance that form, really.
Yeah, exactly. That just shows, he's obviously he's a capable horse. He's got the ability to win. And as I alluded to, it's just been unfortunate. He's always bumped one or two that have just been probably a bit smarter than Class 4 horses. But nonetheless, I hope that this time round he can get it done.
And when you sort of assess a race like this, Lyle, from your point of view, doing the form, I mean, how sort of how much confidence does it give you the fact that there's quite a few newcomers in the race? I mean, they could potentially be very good, or they could potentially, obviously, flounder a bit on debut. I guess that's probably an angle that you have to come at as well.
Yeah, you can certainly look at it like that, and especially with a horse like Cheval Valiant, who's got a high cruising speed. It usually just tests those first timers a bit more. So even if they are very capable first time out, they can be under a bit of pressure with that natural cruising speed of a horse like Cheval Valiant. So that does give him an upper hand with the experience as well. But in the same breath, you've got horses like Gleneagles Generals that finish off really strong. So it's a balancing act, and yeah, he must just build on that in that good form and repeat that to get a victory.
I suppose just finally, he's a bit like Durham Star, really, isn't he? Sort of, he comes there to threaten, or I suppose a different running style completely. But
Yeah,
nice to get the win on him Wednesday night, also.
yeah, it was fantastic. He deserved it. Master stroke from Dougie to take him to the Valley. He was pretty confident that would suit him, and in all honesty, I had my reservations. But from a good draw, it meant that we had a good smooth trip right through, and he won a good race. So very happy to get the victory aboard him after many consistent efforts, and hopefully Valiant Elegance can follow in the same vein.
Lyle Happy Trio is having his second run this weekend. He put in a really gallant effort on debut.
Yes, he did. In a way, he did surprise us. We knew he had the ability, but we thought maybe first up over 1,000, he just might be too green to run such an impressive race. But the fact that he did show that he has the ability, and we expect him to have learned a lot from that experience too.
And he had to do a lot of his own running down the middle of the track, Lyle, as well. I mean, he would have learnt plenty from that, wouldn't he?
Yes, he sort of came out decently and got a bump from the horse next to him, and he actually recovered pretty well from that. But then when I put him in behind the horses, being a first timer who we knew was a bit green, he started to just drop out of it and lack that early race speed. So I opted to put him into the clear again and let him see where he's going and get a bit more competitive. And when he got a challenge move up next to him that worked up from behind, he got competitive and he ran through to the line strongly. So he would have had to learn a lot from that and take in a lot. So that experience will only have brought him on.
And am I right in thinking that that was the one and only time that you've sat on the horse? I know Douglas White does a lot of his track work. Have the reports been pleasing from the trainer?
Yeah, well, I worked. Dougie actually galloped him alongside me when I was on another horse early days, and he's done a bit of work with him. And some of his trials have shown that he had those flashes of ability, but like I say, he just needs to still put it all together, and that's why when he managed to do such a pleasing performance on debut, it didn't surprise us, but it was a breath of fresh air to see him put it all together.
Joe ERIMO, putting a very pleasing debut last time out over 1,200, goes up in trip this weekend.
Yeah, he ran really well first up, and he kind of indicated a bit of more ground. I'm very pleased and happy that John Size has stepped him up in distance a bit, and I think that might be just what he needs to get up there. He just need to go one better than last time.
And did he show you all those characteristics in his trials, Joe? That you know, potentially 1200 was going to be a little bit on the short side, obviously with a view to progressing.
From the first trial that I've done on him, which is a long time ago, I said to John that he feels like he's not even a sprinter. He might be a miler, you know? So I guess John had it at the back of his mind for a long way. He had an interruption in his preparation, and once Size brought him to his second preparation, and then we had an issue with him a day that he jumps and went too fast up in front and couldn't finish it off. But we realized that we had to just teach him to just settle and get cover and hit the line. When he went out there to race first up, he obviously found himself behind horses because barrier trial space and race spaces are very much different. So he didn't find any difficulty to get behind a horse, and he hit the line very well at the races. So listen, what I'm trying to say is 1400, it's better for him than last time, but I really think as time goes by, John might step him up to even longer.
And just on him as an individual, the horse, that is Joe. I mean, do you feel he's a really nice horse going forward? I mean, he seems to have started off really well, and I guess without getting too excited at this stage, do you feel he is a really nice horse in the making?
He does. Yes, I do. He kind of. I honestly thought by now he would have won. He would have won some of his races. When I say some, that means I believe he's got plenty of wins in him. It's just a matter of time until he gets them.
And talking of wins within somebody or something, Joe, you managed to register the 1200 at Happy Valley Wednesday night. Many congratulations on that. You're one of only 3 jockeys to have achieved that. And I imagine, I know I read an article saying that you weren't even too aware of the situation, which is fair enough because you jockeys have got so much going on. But I guess when you reflect on it and you take a bit of time to think about it, that's an amazing achievement.
It is. Well, I said to the press that day as well that I would never dream to be hitting such a mark before I come to Hong Kong, and it's no doubt it's a pleasure to myself to reach there. And the best part of it that we are very sure that it's not just that is more to come. And each time we go out there to the race, we try to win as many as possible. And I can't wait to make it 1,201. Hopefully it's on the weekend.
Absolutely. And do you remember the first winner, Joe? I mean, I believe by all accounts it was on International Jockeys Challenge meeting, 2012, I believe, and it was called All the Winners. Do you remember much about that race?
Yes, I do remember very well. I remember who was the trainer, the way how the things play out. All the winner. He actually was a horse that used to get behind. At that particular day, I was able to bounce him out very well from the gates and hit to the front straight away. He ended up having a very easy run in front, and he having such an easy run in front, he finished off very strongly. He won by a big margin. So that was the first of my over 1,000 winners in Hong Kong, which will never be forgotten.
Yeah, he looks like he's back on track. In his training, he's been relaxing more. You know, when he lost his way and got beaten, you know, he still ran placings in those races, but disappointed by the market price he was. But I think he's a more relaxed horse coming out of those races now, and he's more seasoned to Hong Kong and probably will be a little bit more reliable.
And just, I mean, we've spoken extensively about this horse, David, naturally, given sort of what he's been able to do on the track. Do you feel now that he is just beginning to, as you I think, so eloquently described it a few runs ago, just needing to come back, just needing to relax? Do you feel you've got him now right where you sort of need him to be?
Yeah, it's harnessing his speed. Like, he's got incredible speed, but if he charges and races erratically, it negates his speed because he leaves himself with nothing at the end. If we can just, like Nature Strip a little bit in his early days, I'm not saying he's Nature Strip, but I'm saying Nature Strip was vulnerable from time to time in Australia because he was far too aggressive. And if things didn't quite go right, he was brought undone. And it's a bit the same with this young horse. He's at the early days of his career. I think I think he's going to be very hard to beat whenever I run him, but he's a little bit vulnerable if he over races and does things wrong. He could bring himself unstuck, but the frame of mind he's in, I feel that he won't, and he'll be back to his brilliant best straight form. And his best straight form was incredible. He nearly broke the course record on debut, so you know how good he is. And
you had Blake Shin on him for a recent trial. He'll ride him on race day as well. Were you both happy with what he was able to achieve in that trial? Yeah,
look, Blake was thrilled with him, and he sent Zach a text and said, "Thank you for giving me the opportunity."
Joe, Running Glory is just a super little racehorse. He's now won 3 from 6 this season. I imagine every time you see your name next to his on race day, that must be quite a pleasing feeling.
It is, because he's been very consistent, hasn't he? Every time he goes out there to the race, he does his best. And that's what a jockey would want to get on top of a horse that tried its best, And apparently he's one of them.
He certainly is. He goes up in trip as well, Joe. John's sort of wasted no time in going to the 18. Is that something that you both feel is what the horse has been sort of wanting, going up in trip?
Yeah, from a long way as well. When he was running over 12, we thought was too short. We stepped him up to 1400, and then he shows improvement right away. He won a few races over that distance, and he went up in distance again, felt much better. Had everything against him, everything to get him beaten on that day, at his last start in particular, over the mile, and he still made it. I know he had a suitable run where they went quite fast up in front, and he hit the line going past them all. But, races like that, sometimes horses have to make it tough, and he didn't disgrace. He didn't let us down. So I'm just trying to describe him as a horse that tries all the time. And I'm not expecting him to do anything different on the weekend.
As you say, he is such a little trier. And I mean, he's been doing it quite tough. Last 3 races, he's had barriers 12, 10 and 12. The marble has been very kind this week. They've given him number 3, which is nice, I suppose, as well.
The gate number 3 is definitely going to help him. Don't forget, he's not a big and strong horse. He's quite light. I think he's somewhere around 1,000 pounds. And when you're able to hug the rail and save ground with those kind of horses, always helped, From there, we just got to hope that he's lucky enough to get a split. And we know if he does, he's going to hit the line very strongly. It's a strong race. There is some fast horses in that. But we have to respect the little one, Running Glory, because we know he's a trier.
Zach, Packing Treadmill is a horse that you've gained a really good rapport with now. 2 rides, 2 wins, and he goes to the well again this weekend.
Yeah, he's done everything right, hasn't he? His first start, he didn't quite know what he was doing. He got a little bit tight there at one stage mid-race, but and was held up on straightening. But when the gap come, he got through there and did a good job without changing his leg. And then his second start, he was a little bit more push button. He got out nicely, travelled well. And after balancing up, when I pressed the button, there was a nice response. So he goes up in grade now. Once again, drawn a bit awkwardly. It's going to be tricky from that gate, and it's a much stronger race. So he'll need to get everything right. But, he's an improving horse, and hopefully he can just keep getting the job done for us.
He's certainly going the right way. Just on that run last time, Zach, it was noticeable just down the straight. He looked to duck in a little bit. Is he still just sort of not the finished product after the 2 starts yet?
Yeah, very much so. He's a very laid-back horse in the morning. You actually can't get a guide on him at all, which is why he went out at such a big price in his first start. I didn't have anything to do with him prior to riding him in that first race, but I can clearly see that he doesn't give anything away at track work in the mornings. He just floats around, and therefore he's picking things up on race day. And like you mentioned, he wanted to get in a little bit until he found the rail at his last start where he's more comfortable. So he's working things out, but he's doing a good job in the process.
And just on the form, obviously, of that last race, Zach, you made sure the form was franked with Fun and Glory winning thereafter. Also, the runner-up Science Patches won. So I know you say it's a deeper race, and obviously you rode Voyage Bubble last time in the race that Bazinga won, so you've got a very good handle on it. But his form arguably has to be the strongest, isn't it?
Possibly. I think Bazinga's a fairly progressive horse. He did a really good job at his first start. It's not easy for any horse win at their first start here in Hong Kong, and he's unbeaten worldwide. And he looked really impressive. He was very soft on the line. So I think he's the one to beat again, even though he goes up quite a bit in weight and obviously in the ratings. He's drawn it wide, so it's going to be a tougher test for him. But I thought his win was really soft last time, and nothing really went right for Voyage Bubbles last time. He was a bit slow out the gate, found himself in a position he was a little bit unfamiliar with, and then had to make a long sustained run and wanted to hang in, got quite lost out in the middle of the track. So they're both nice horses, and it's going to be a good race between the three of us.
Ruan, great to chat to you as always. In race 10 this Sunday, you'll ride NAVAS too, a horse that you've got a great connection with. You're looking forward to getting back on him, I'm sure.
Yes, Nick. I'm very happy to continue riding NAVAS now. He's a nice horse. He's giving me 3 winners already. And hopefully I can do a good ride and he keep showing your performance.
Last time out, Ruan, he was dropped back to 1,200 metres. Obviously, you had to take your medicine a little bit from gate 14 and riding a long way back, and he finished off strongly. Returning to 1,400 metres, is that a big positive in your mind?
Yes. I'm sure because 12 a bit short for him. And also he got draw wide last time. So this time back to 14, I think should be very good for him. The bear not so great, but I believe the distance can help us to get cover midfield and wait for the straight.
And do you try and do what you did last time? I mean, obviously he has been that little bit closer when he's drawn a good gate. Do you sort of have to take him right to the back because he is drawn that wide? Is that going to be the plan again?
Yes, I believe the plan need to found same last time because the bear had too wide. If I try to push him a bit higher in the early stage, maybe it doesn't find cover, no? So I believe I need to jump happy, see how I can cross a bit back, no problem, because he had very nice finish. So I think it's no problem for him.
And how's his track work been since that last run, Ruan? Has he continued to hold his form throughout the season? He seems to be doing so on the track. What about in the mornings?
I believe he's much better at this moment because after his last run, he coming back from a little bit a break, you know. And when I galloped him last time, I felt him so nice, he relaxed, he improved, he more focused, you know. I'd be shy before, now he's very concentration, so I believe he's 100% form.